This maiden flight ends with an ungainly landing. For any bird of prey, the first year is the toughest in its life. Over half will die in their first 12 months, mainly due to starvation. To survive, these birds will now need to find sites where they can hunt and breed. Zoologist Mike McGrady has spent 5 years studying eagles in the Western Highlands of Scotland. He's used tracking techniques to build the most detailed picture yet of the movements a young eagle makes once it has left the nest.
For the first few months after it leaves the nest, it is resident on its natal territory. But after, in usually November through January, they move on and start to wander quite widely. These wanderings can be over hundreds of kilometers, and they don't seem to have any direction.
To follow these wanderings, Mike fits the eagles with radio transmitters. But he has to catch one first. "80 yards from the hide, Mike has baited the trap with a dead rabbit. Trapping requires endless patience.
It's kind of dynamic tension between being comfortable and being uncomfortable, because you have to be awake all the time, pretty much, but you and ready to move. But you also you're going to have to spend 11 hours in this hide, and it's cold or raining or something like that. You also try to make yourself comfortable.
This is the 6th day of watching and waiting. When he does spot an eagle flying overhead, there's no guarantee it will be tempted by the bait. And even if it is, Mike's problems may have just begun.
We then have to wait until the eagle is exactly in the right position, because one is always concerned that the eagle will be injured by our trapping methods. But once the eagle is in position, we just fire the trap by radio control. Unfortunately, sometimes the eagles spend half an hour in the wrong position, but in the trap, and we never catch them.
Although the bird is in position, it isn't safe to spring the trap while its wings are open. Finally, it folds its wings.
Okay, the ring number is ZZ0832.
0832.
Let me just get a bill length on it.
The first job is to tag the bird and measure it. The beak and talon lengths will tell Mike whether this is a male or a female.
Okay, 43.2.
Although trapped, it is still a formidable animal.
49.4.
This bird has a short beak and talons, and so Mike knows it's a male.
All right, we're ready to put the tag on.
He fits the lightweight radio transmitter that will eventually detach itself from the bird.
This is a tail-mounted transmitter, so its life expectancy is really dependent upon where the tails, how long that tail feather is going to stay in. I've tried to choose a feather that's relatively new, because eagles don't molt through all their feathers in one particular year. So hopefully this bird will be able to to keep the transmitter on at least as long as the life of the transmitter, which might be about 2 years.
There are about 450 breeding pairs of eagles in Scotland. To be successful, a young golden eagle needs to claim a territory. But what if all the good sites are already taken? Today, Mike's picked up the signal of a young male eagle and followed it to its source. The territory of this golden eagle is 7 miles long and 5 miles wide. The eagle has defended it against all comers.
Just like any other territorial animal, they maintain this territory at great sort of energetic expense. And the reason they have to do that is because the resources within that territory are quite important to it breeding. Those resources include food resources, but also might include nesting resources or a mate. They're maintaining an area which they can survive and reproduce in. The other eagles are also interested in the same thing, and if you have an eagle that's non-territorial and is looking to enter the breeding population, it has to establish itself on a territory. And at least from our work, some of these eagles seem to be aggressive about that territorial establishment.
Mike has recently discovered just how aggressive eagles can be. In 1992, he tagged the male of a pair of breeding eagles. He tracked the bird for a year and a half until he eventually lost contact.
Some months later, we picked up a very strong signal on this bird and followed the signal in to find the bird dead and quite decomposed.
What he discovered next came as a complete surprise.
Once we cleaned up the skull and the whole skeleton, we sort of realized what had caused this bird to die. It had obviously received a wound from probably another eagle. Must be another eagle. I can't imagine anything else inflicting a wound like that on an adult golden eagle.
This eagle was killed for its territory. How often this occurs, no one knows, but a young male eagle has now taken over the territory. Chances are, this was the killer. The new young male will mate with a resident female. He will learn from her where the best hunting sites are and benefit from her experience. When she dies, he will stay in the territory and acquire a new mate. In this way, territories have been handed down in an unbroken lineage, stretching back centuries. All birds of prey share an evolutionary legacy. Whether they're hunting or scavenging, flying or gliding, they are the ultimate aerial predators.